Hey peeps, so I just wanted to get on here and give you guys a little overview about your test this week. It's going to be the assignment number 8. So in Google Classroom, you'll see the instructions here. So this will be in Google Classroom, and I'm just going to kind of go ahead and go through it with you. So the assignment will go into mastery. So think about how that's going to affect your grade. This is the first mastery grade you will have on an NTI assignment. There is a rubric that will be in the Google Doc at the bottom of the assignment labeled Test Assignment 8, Surface Area and Volume Castle. That will have the prompt, the task, and the rubric. Okay, so if you're having difficulties after you read through it and you don't really know how to get started, or you just want some clarifying questions, make sure you come to the Google Meets this week. Remember to check the weekly slides for those so you can see when Miss Hazel will have her Google Meets, Miss Shelton, Miss Giles, or any other teacher that you have. So make sure you check in with your teachers and stop in and say hey and ask those clarifying questions, okay? So in that assignment, what you'll see attached is this video that I'm making right now. Okay, you'll see a toolkit. Now the toolkit is just a formula sheet that you can use to summarize all of the shapes that we've found the surface area and volume for. So hopefully that will help you know when to use which formula, okay? And then the actual test. Now this will only be a view file, which means you can't actually type in it. Okay, so you're going to actually organize all of your work on a separate sheet of paper, and then I'm going to talk about this video in just a minute. All right, so let's go ahead and go through the test. So you should be watching this video right now. So that's the first step. Then you're going to actually read the prompt. Okay, so the German Historical Society has just acquired a castle on the Rhine River and wishes to turn it into a museum. But for it to be inviting to guests, they must heat the castle, place a new layer of plaster around the outside, and replace the roof. So the society models the castle with some shapes that we've actually discussed in these last few weeks. So you can see there's a right pyramid right here on the top. Okay, you have a cone on one of the buildings, and then you actually have your a rectangular prism, and then a cylinder. Okay, so the only shape here that's not talked about is the sphere. Okay, so you should have learned about the cone in assignment number 7. So you should be doing this after your assignment number 7. Okay, let's see. So I'm going to actually go ahead and go down to the rubric so you can actually just see exactly what I want from you for this test. This test is a lot different than what you're used to in our classroom. So make sure you read through this. If you want a good score, follow this and you'll be good to go. So volume and surface area, that's actually number 3, okay? And we want you to find, if you say you get all 4 of the volumes correct, then you would get a 4. And what we'll do is we'll just put a 4 right here so you can see exactly what you got. Say you only get 1 of the 4 volumes correct, then you would actually get a 1 point for the volume. Okay, so make sure you double check those volumes are correct so you can get all your points for that. Same thing for the surface area. If you get all 4 of the surface areas correct, you'd get a 4. If you get all 3 correct, you'd get a 3, 2, you'd get a 2, 1, you'd get a 1. Okay, so that's 8 points out of 20 total points. So it's about half of the test. Now, the next part is your task. So I'll actually go through the task in just a minute, but those are going to be numbers 4, 5, and 6. Those are actually going to have a lot less work than the volume and surface area, but they're more important they're about the same as, they have the same importance because they're the more applied problems, okay? So this is where we're going to talk about that plaster, the roofing materials, and then how to heat the building, okay? So if you get all your work correct and it's all shown, so all your steps are shown, then you would get a 4, okay? If you only get 1 out of 3 of the tasks correct, then you would get a 2. okay? So just make sure you're checking your work again. Make sense of those, okay? Now, this next one's probably going to scare some of you. This is something we're going to try for NTI. We want you to choose one of the 3 tasks from here, and you're going to make a video, okay? You're going to explain your process, and I don't mean explaining like I multiplied this by that. You're actually going to explain your thought process. Why did that make sense? How did you find that answer? And then you can talk about the math part. Okay, so if you want a better score, make sure that video is detailed and it actually shows what you were thinking as you solved that problem. Okay, and you only have to do 1 out of the 3 tasks. Those are numbers 4, 5, and 6. Okay, and then this last one right here, guys, is really just like a boost. So if you do this, you basically get a free 4 points. So I'll show you in just a second. We're actually created a table for you. We want you to draw that on your loose leaf or your graph paper and actually fill that in so your work is organized. A, it will help me grade it a little easier. And then B, it helps you to stay organized for when you get to those tasks. You can just go back up and be able to see your answers. Please highlight and circle all of your answers within that table. If you do all of those things, you would get a 4. Okay, so read through the description here. As organized as you can be is better. And then you'll have your total here. Okay, so it'll be out of 20 points, but in mastery, it will be 100 points. So it is a test grade. Okay, now let's go back up and actually read through those tasks. So here, number 3, you're finding your surface area and volume. You're actually gonna draw this table. You'll need a lot more space in between here, okay? Because you're actually gonna show all of your work here. So you're gonna show your volume work in this column, your surface area work here, okay? Now, I wanna talk about the surface area because that one's a little tricky. So you only need to find the surface area needed for plastering and or roofing, okay? When you're heating, okay, when it's talking about heating the castle, that's volume because you're talking about the space inside the castle. When you're talking about plastering around the outside and replacing that roof, okay, that's going to be your surface area. So let's talk through that a little bit. You actually really need to think about where you're actually going to have the roof, okay, and where you're going to have the plaster. So the roof is obviously going to be on the pyramid and it'll be on the cone. Okay, think of the net for the cone. Okay, so remember you have that base and it's a circle. And then you should have learned in Miss Giles' video that you have this partial circle. Okay, if you think about that party hat. So you're not going to need roofing for the base of that cone right there. You're only going to need roofing material for that portion of the circle. So remember that was called lateral area. So you actually need to find the lateral area. Same thing for the pyramid. Okay, so make sure you think through that. And those are all good things to talk about in that video. Okay, so you can throw in a little bit of how you found the volume and surface areas if you want in your video. Okay, now when you're talking about plastering, you're going to actually be talking about the that's not a highlighter, hold on. Okay, so you're actually going to be talking about the rectangular prism in this cylinder. Okay, but think about when you're plastering, you've got this, remember I'm going to do the rectangular, actually let's do the cylinder. So remember the cylinder, you have these 2 circles, that's the base, that's the top and the bottom, and then you have the rectangle. Remember, like if you think of a soup can or like anything that is cylindrical and you take off that label, that's actually a rectangle, okay? So are you going to actually need plaster for this bottom base right here or this space right here, that circle? You're not, okay? So you only need to find the surface area of that face, which is the rectangle, okay? Once again, think about that when you go to do the rectangular prism as well, okay? Let's see if there's anything else I need to cover with that. Okay, so let's talk about heating the castle. So heating the castle, remember, is going to be your volume, okay? So when you're talking about volume, you're heating the castle. So if we go down, this one is actually, you're going to use this in task 1, which is number 4. It gives you a piece of information you're going to use, and then it says how many heaters will the society need to purchase, and it tells you the ceilings are vaulted. So what do we mean by the ceilings are vaulted? That means that this pyramid on top and the cone on top is vaulted. So when you heat the place, you're going to pretend that this rectangle is not the ceiling. This circle is not the ceiling. So you actually have to find the volume of the entire of all 4. Okay, so this is a little bit tricky. This is why I wanted to get on here and help you guys through this assignment, which is an assessment. Okay, so and then you can use this piece of information if you choose to pick task 1 in your video. Tell me how you found that. Why did that make sense? And how many heaters does the society actually have to purchase? Okay, task 2 says how many square feet of plaster will they need. So we just went over that. We talked about how the plaster will be around the building, okay? And that means that you need to find the surface area of those specific 3D objects or buildings. And then task 3, how many square feet of roofing materials will they need? Once again, you need to think about surface area, but you need to think about which surfaces are actually going to be using the roofing materials. Okay, so think through that. And then once again, when you're working this out, you might want to make notes for your video. Okay, and then in your video, make sure that you tell me which task you're choosing. So are you choosing task 1, 2, or 3, or it's labeled as number 4, 5, and 6 in the actual assignment? Okay, remember, you won't be typing in this or writing in this assignment. You'll be doing this on a separate sheet of paper. So this is the last piece. You only need to choose 1 of the 3 and record yourself explaining how you found your answer. Please don't just say what the answer is or read your math work, but actually explain your thought process of how you came to that answer. Okay, we will take into account how you did your video because that's in the rubric. Okay. It doesn't matter which one you choose. All right, we've already gone over the rubric. Now, I know some of you guys have been struggling on how to upload, so let's talk through this pretty quickly. You'll record yourself on your phone, and then after you do it, you'll go to your camera roll, and then you can hit this little arrow with the box. Okay, you'll just click that button. It'll open up some options. Whatever mailing device you're going to use, email it to yourself. Okay, once you do that, you can save the video and then email it to yourself. Okay, so then once you send it to yourself, open your email, and then you should have that file. Okay, that's exactly what I do for some of the videos on here. Okay, then on Google Classroom, under assignment number 8, you're gonna click this add or create. Okay, it's gonna open up a list of things you need to do. If you have it in Google Drive, you can pull up your Google Drive. If you have it downloaded, open it in a file. You need to upload. Okay, you need to upload your video and work. So you should have at the least 2 attachments on your assignment number 8. Okay, if you have any questions or concerns about how to get the video completed, it doesn't have to be super long. Just think what questions would I ask you if we were in the actual classroom. Okay, so make those exciting for me to grade, please. Okay, and if you have any questions, just let me know. Okay, don't forget, if you want to come do Google Meets, okay, this is Miss Hazel. Mine will be on Tuesday and Wednesday from